Okay, welcome everyone. This presentation is to help families who are new to the Issaquah School District, primarily our kindergarten families, better understand and navigate our schools. This is for the 2024-2025 kindergarten students. So I am part of the family partnership group, which is part of the equity group in the Issaquah School District. And one of the reasons we do this is in looking at some of our demographic data, we've noticed that over 30% of the residents in the Issaquah School District community, which includes Newcastle, Bellevue, Sammamish, Issaquah, portions of Renton, and unincorporated King County, members who are non-born, foreign-born residents in the area. And because of that, we noticed that sometimes they're not quite sure how school systems in Issaquah or in the US work. So our job is to make sure that we're helping parents understand and navigate our schools. So our family partnership group, Ina and I are part of the family partnership group, and our website is over here. Ina is one of our liaisons, and liaisons are available at each school to help families answer questions about school. So honestly, the liaisons are literally here for you to help you. Many people are very hesitant about calling or emailing the liaisons and asking questions because they don't want to bother them. But that is the liaison's job, to be bothered by the parents and help them with questions that they have. So it is a role designed not for students this time, for parents. So please lean on us, our team and the liaisons. The contact information for all of them is also listed here. And my name is here, and our executive director of equities listed over here. So all that information is available on the website, and I'll send this link when I send the slide deck at the end. Also on the website, you have a resources page, and under the resources page, there are tons of resources for elementary school families. So be sure to check it out when you have some time if you have questions, especially in August and next year. So just file that in your memory for a possible place to find information next year. So as you all know, kindergarten registration for next year has begun. So at any point, you are welcome to register your child for school in the any one of the, well, I shouldn't say anyone, in the 16 schools in the Issaquah School District. Now, this is important to know. If your child is 5 by August 31st and you live within the Issaquah School District boundaries, you will 100% be admitted into the Issaquah School District schools. Many families coming from other countries think, oh, will I get accepted? Is my child, capable, ready? All of these different questions. And the answer is, you're sure thing. Okay. Your child will be admitted in the Issaquah schools if they live within the school district boundary and they are 5 years old by August 31st. Now, I also get the question of, oh, my child's birthday is in the summer, so they will turn 5, but oh, I don't know if I really want to have them start school next year. And the answer is it's completely your prerogative. And I will truthfully tell you that many families wait who have born babies and enroll them the year after. That is very normal because sometimes there's concern that kids born in June, July, August, sometimes they're not fully ready to begin kindergarten. So that is an option. So there's no rule that you have to enroll your child just because they turn 5 before August 31st. An August birthday versus a September birthday, not that much difference really. So it is your decision on that part. If you want to talk more about that, you're welcome to contact me or one of the liaisons at a later time to go into details about that. So next one, the enrollment for the school is completely online. You're going to click on the new enrollment website and you are going to begin the enrollment process. And it's fairly simple. If you already have a child in the Issaquah School District, you already have an account, so you're just going to use that account information. But if you have never had a child in the Issaquah School District, you're going to create an enrollment user account, clicking this link, and then you're going to fill out all the papers. Once you have completed all the papers, then you will get a call. You'll get an email from the school. So very often when families first enroll in the Issaquah School District, it's a generic enrollment. But you will get an email from the school that your child lives within the boundaries of, and that registrar, they call it registrar, will then welcome you and send you an email with more information, asking for more information. Okay. So what you're doing now is called a registration process. I just want to keep in the back of your mind, know that in August, you're going to have to do something called an enrollment verification process. It's abbreviated as EVP, and that's to verify that your child is going to start that year. And many kindergarten families are very confused about this because they're like, we just registered. Why are you making us do this work again? And it's just because we have to verify that you are starting, and it's part of a counting. It's for data for our school so that we have our numbers, because the number of school students enrolled in our school determines what our budget for the year looks like. And so that's part of why we do this process. And it helps us decide some information for schools. So as I said, the registration is online. Once you submitted the application, you'll get an email. Once the application is approved, make sure you look for that email. Sometimes it goes into your junk mail. Now, parents, as they're completing the registration process, they're going to have to provide parent identification, a proof of birthday, a utility bill such as gas, water, or electric bill, and then one of the following, either home purchase papers or lease or rental agreement, an original one. If you're living with a family member, they have to do this notarized verification. And if you need help with that, because you can provide one of these or trying to get some ideas on what to submit for a registration, again, don't hesitate to call Ina, Wenley, or myself from the Family Partnership. We can help you through the registration process. The liaisons help families complete the forms or figure out what forms they need. So, which school do you attend? So, as I said, the registrar of the school that you will be assigned to will contact you. Can you choose which school you would like to attend? And the way you choose is where you live. Because in the Issaquah School District, your neighborhood school is determined by your home address. So I live in a neighborhood close to Sunset Elementary, and so my children had to attend Sunset Elementary. If you live within this green area over here, your child will attend Cedar Trails. If you're not sure, you can go to the link called Attendance Maps, and you can kind of figure out what school you're at. If you want to verify and you're looking at this going, I don't know where to even start, you can, of course, call transportation and they will help you find that information. And the transportation link is on my slide deck. And it also says here, email the transportation department with your complete address, including city and zip code, and they will send you information before you've registered, in case you're wondering and you needed to know that information before you registered in the Issaquah School District. Okay. The other thing about this is if you are accepted, well, you will be accepted if you have the address that matches your the school's attendance boundary. But very often I have families ask between February and August. Well, we are living here in an apartment, but in June, July, we might be moving to another apartment across town. Well, if you do move, just note you have to submit that information, and then you don't have to reapply for everything. Your information will be sent to the other school within the Issaquah School District. However, between now and September, or now and whenever you change location that it's not an Issaquah School District school, you will have to transfer to this other school. Okay? So if you move and your address is no longer part of that home school, you have to change your school. This is hard because even if you move in December, you will have to move schools in December. Very often parents think, oh, but I can just wait and finish out the year till June. And unfortunately, the answer is no. You move when your school, if you move during the school year. Okay. Again, if you're not sure about that, give us a call and we can talk and clarify this information. The other thing to know is yes, you're guaranteed placement in the elementary school based on your address. And then after your child is done with elementary school, you will then move to a specific middle school. And your middle school, again, is dependent on your home address. And so, for example, based on my home address for Sunset, my children are at Issaquah Middle School. And then my oldest one is at Issaquah High School. So it's all based on home address. For example, at Issaquah Valley, most of students at Issaquah Valley will go to Issaquah Middle School, but some kids who are at Issaquah Valley, mainly the kids who live up in Tallis area, they go to Cougar Mountain, and then after that, they go back to Issaquah High School. Okay, so this is called a feeder pattern system. And some elementary school boundaries are split between two middle schools. And again, a reminder that if you move out during the school year, your child will have to change schools. So the school calendar, and this is important for you. I know my husband loves to know what my school calendar is every year and plans a year ahead for our vacations. And so you can already look for the school calendar on the district website and plan on your vacation and days off and all of that good stuff. It already has a first day of school for kindergarten, which is September 4th. It's a Wednesday after Labor Day. It already has a first day of school listed for other students, 1 through 12. So don't get confused. Kindergarten starts later than the rest of the students, grades 1 through 12. It also, I forgot to check. The elementary school conference days are not posted right now, but I will try to share that with you when I send the slide deck if you complete the feedback form, because there are two no school days in November and children cannot go to school those 2 days. So I know as a parent of elementary school children, I had to look for childcare for those 2 days. There are also two additional no school days. They are teacher work days. One is in October and one is in January. And if you're a planner like me, I like to know what days I need to prepare for days off or vacation in advance. So I'm sharing this with you ahead of time. The district, the kindergarten team also has a kindergarten timeline posted, and that kind of gives you a general overview of what you need to know and prepare. And it has some links. So it has information about the kindergarten screener. My event is posted over here. There's a couple other events going on that's posted over here. So as you're trying to figure out your schedule, just remember that there is a kindergarten timeline underneath the kindergarten registration link on the website. Okay. Um, and so going to the next slide. Bell schedule. Many parents ask about the bell schedule and what to expect. The main thing to note is school Monday through Friday always will start at 9:15 at all 16 schools. And the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday school ends at 3:40. But on Wednesdays, and this is very important, on Wednesday, school ends at 1:30. So kids have to go home after school ends on Wednesday at 1:30. For many families, this is a little bit of a challenge, and so you need to start planning now on what to do for childcare on those Wednesdays. The bus schedule, that information over here is what time the bus drops the kids off. So the buses arrive at school at 9:05, and then the buses leave the school at 3:47 on most days, on Wednesdays 1:37. So you can expect your kids home about 15 minutes after. Because your children are kindergartners, you are expected to meet the bus and your child at the bus stop, or a designated adult who you've assigned has to pick up your child. So the bus driver will not let a kid off the bus without a designated adult and the person there to pick up the child. So this is a safety reason. So many of you ask questions about safety for children. So there's always supervision. You put the child on the bus. When the children in kindergarten arrive at school, there are adults that help them get off the bus and then put them in a line to make sure they're in the right line to go to their kindergarten class. Kindergarten teachers then escort them into the classroom, and then kindergarten teachers walk them and physically drop kids off at different buses, or send them to the parent who's waiting in a car, or parents waiting picking them up in person. So there's definitely a system for pickup and drop off. Your child will be supervised, and systems have been created to ensure their safety.
And for kindergartners, they make sure that the youngest kindergartner kids get to ride at the very front of the bus. So they get lots of extra attention. And our bus drivers are really amazing at learning their names and getting to know them really well. So they're very well taken care of.
Perfect. Family connections. So in August and one day in September, there's something known as a family connections meeting. And it's for only kindergarten families have this kind of a meeting in kindergarten. And it's a one-to-one meeting with the teacher, and it's required. It's part of a Washington State initiative called Walk Kids, and it is to ensure a smooth transition to school and to kindergarten. It's part of ensuring that students have a great start of education. The school or someone will contact you to help set up this appointment, and it's about 20 or 30 minutes, and your child will be attending with you. And the meeting it's a separate meeting per family, and so it's a really great time to meet the teacher, talk to the teacher, ask the teacher questions. The teacher will ask you questions to share some information about your child, mainly questions about their prior learning, there's any concerns you have. It is a great time to really connect with a teacher. You are going to have another time in November called parent teacher conferences, but in kindergarten, you have two opportunities for great conversations with your teacher. In first grade through fifth grade, there's only the parent teacher conferences. I've also included a link over here called Resource for Parents of possible questions that you can have for the teacher, because you're welcome to ask questions too. And the questions the teacher might ask you, because really it's about building that relationship and connection, right? Because the teacher wants to partner with you. You've been your child's primary teacher for the past 5 years, and how can this teacher partner with you to make sure that your child has, again, the best start and best, most success that academic school year. Um, oh, early release is something that might happen on certain days. It doesn't happen very often. It's usually 2 or 3 days. It's usually 2 days before the last day of school or second last day of school, and it's a half day. So if there's an early release day, this is their schedule. Lori, do you remember how many early release days students had this year?
I think
None.
it's just that last day of school.
Yeah. So I think it's just that second. Is it the last day only? Yeah, the
Mhm.
last day of school. Yeah. So I think it's the last day of school only. Okay. Um, so meet the teacher. Now this is yet another time to meet the teacher, but this is different because on meet the teacher, it's a lot. There are going to be all the students and their parents will be there. And sometimes some schools that are big, they're going to split it into two sections. They might say kids with letters A through M come at this time and N through Z at this time. Or some schools will say kindergarten through second grade at this time, third to fifth grade at this time, because the parking lot can be full, the school can be full. So look at your school's bulletin in late August to find out the exact time, but it's going to be August 28th. It's usually always the day before school starts. And it's a time for all students in elementary school, so kindergarten through fifth grade, to visit the school and the teacher the day before school starts. And you most likely won't know your teacher's name until they contact you for the Family Connections event. So it's not something that's posted early in August or anything, okay? It's a casual visit, honestly. You're just kind of there, you're checking around the school. You're mainly it's to drop the school supplies. Sometimes a teacher has in higher grades has some forms, like if you want to volunteer and some other kind of forms, maybe. to do, but really it's just an opportunity for the parents to sometimes meet other parents and for your child to maybe see other kids in the class. So sometimes parents ask me, do I have to go to meet the teacher and family connections? I'm like, well, you don't have to go to anything. You should definitely go to family connections. It's designed to help your child be successful. You don't have to do meet the teacher, but meet the teacher is helpful if you, as a parent, want to meet other parents in the class, or you want your child to see other kids in the class. And very often, the PTSA, which is a Parent Teacher Student Association, it's kind of a group of parents who do volunteer activities or organize events at the school. They do an event called Popsicles on the playground, or the kids are playing outside the playground. So it's also a social event. So it's really the first social event for families and students in the school. And a parent, by the way, asked me about are there other social events? So in case I forget to answer it, sometimes check your local Facebook groups or contact the PTSA at your school now and see if they have some kind of organized Facebook group, because they'll post uh, play dates in playgrounds over the summer to help your kids meet each other or kind of connect with other kids going to that school. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on, or ask me at the Q&A portion. So full day kindergarten versus AM kindergarten. So a parent asked me that question. So let's talk about that. So the Issaquah School District offers full day kindergarten at no cost to students. And we say that because when my child first started in the Issaquah School District, to attend kindergarten full day, we had to pay extra. So now every child is eligible to go to school in kindergarten all day for free. And it follows the same belt schedule that I showed you earlier as the rest of the students in elementary school. And as I said, starts at 9:15, ends at 3:50. The student will ride the bus with other grade students in grades 1 through 5. And by the way, kindergarten students have preferential seating. They usually have all the kindergarten students at the front of the bus, and that's going to school and coming back. They will have the same teacher all day, except they will go to something we call specialist teachers. We'll talk more about that. And then if your child is in the ELL program, which is English as the English language learners, called an ML program, multilingual services, or special education, which is students who have learning disabilities or have other needs, their teachers will work with each other, and they will see another additional teacher to help them with those services. And we'll go into details about all of them. For students who take the half day kindergarten or AM kindergarten, the students attend school for approximately 3 hours in the morning till around 12:15. So all the students start at the same time, but around 12 at not around, but at 12:15, the parent will need to come to school and pick up the child and take them home. There is no transportation for those families who would like their child to only do AM kindergarten. And then the afternoon, the child most likely will miss the lunch with their peers, and there's an afternoon recess, so they'll miss that. And usually there's something called play. Lori will talk about that in a later slide. So they will miss the activities done between 12:15 and 3:50 if families choose that format. So there's no specific class just for kids doing AM kindergarten. Also, just in full transparency, I was a dean of students at elementary schools for 2 years, and 1 year I had no kids doing AM kindergarten, and 1 year I had one child doing AM kindergarten. Um, Early entrance. Sometimes parents ask me, well, my child's really not going to be 5, but I still want them to start because I think they can. So we do have a early entrance program, but parents are required to complete some forms and have your child do an assessment that the district does not pay for. And also the assessment needs to be done by approved um, professionals. So all of that information is on this website. So I just want to make sure you know that that is possible. but you need to go through a process, and the process, the link to that is on my slide deck if you are interested in that, so that you can get more information on it. So the dual language program, Lori, why don't you talk about that?
So the dual language program is housed at Issaquah Valley Elementary. Priority is given to families that reside within the boundary area, but all students are welcome to apply. It is a Spanish dual language program, so students receive 50%, half of their day instruction in Spanish, and the other half of the day instruction in English. And if you have any questions, feel welcome to reach out to us. We're having a lottery because there's unlimited space in the program on March 20th. Applications were due on March 8th to be considered for the lottery. But if you're interested, I would highly recommend still filling out that application, especially if your child speaks Spanish. We strive for 50% of the class dominant Spanish speakers and then 50% of the class dominant English. So we have that balance. So we have language role models in both classrooms. So if your child speaks Spanish, would highly encourage you to apply.
Hey, thank you very much, Lori. Lori, do I have a typo over here? Is it on the 20th or the 22nd, the lottery?
Let's see.
It's just let me know. When I send the slide deck, I can make the update. I just want to make sure I have the
Whichever
right.
day is the Friday.
The 22nd is a Friday.
Okay, so it's 22nd. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lori. And then we also have a highly capable program. Lori, I'm going to have, so Lori actually is the TOSA responsible, like who works. You don't do highly capable?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I will then take that. So the Issaquah School District is amazing because we test every single elementary student in kindergarten and in second grade to see if they are eligible for the highly capable program. So all kids are tested in kindergarten and second grade. If they join school, by the way, late, they are welcome to nominate themselves and be tested over this early part of the school year to see if they will qualify. So next, our kindergartners, your children who are going to start next year, will take this test in, it's an assessment, I shouldn't call it a test, it's an assessment placement test to determine eligibility in winter, okay? And the specific testing dates are shared by the school next fall. There's more information on the website. And we do have, it's called a primary enrichment program for those kids who qualify for the program in winter of next year. And they will get either pull out or push in model. We have SAGE and PEP teachers to provide services. And it's an additional teacher where they get pulled out and work with this additional teacher on some enrichment lessons. Okay. And for kindergartners, it's one time a week for 30 minutes that they will get the service. In first grade and second grade, they get 1 hour of service. It's sometimes like 3 20 minutes or two 30-minute sessions with this person. There's no screening for the test and actual test. The placement test is in winter. So some of you are, I think, thinking of the screener that you saw on the website that's happening this March, April. That is just to learn a little bit more about your child as we determine which classroom we're going to place them in next year. And this is not, again, a lot of people think, oh, for the screener, I need to really teach my kids so that they're ready. This is not a test we study for. This is just a test to see, hey, can this child read? Oh, sorry, not read, like know his letters, know his numbers. Because what they do is they take all the kids, and in the Issaquah School District, we do something called balancing. So we try to make sure that one teacher doesn't have all the ML students and another teacher has all special kids who need special ed, or one teacher has all the highly capable students. So we put a couple of each in every class. So each class is balanced. We have a couple highly capable. If there's anyone who needs extra support in ML, we have students there. So there's few kids with different kind of needs or different kinds of strengths in each of the area for each teacher, so the teacher has a balanced classroom. So please don't stress your child by trying to get them ready for the screener. in March, April. It has nothing to do with highly capable. ML is multilingual learner, so those kids who don't speak English as their primary language or not ready with English fluency as they start school. Also, in August, September, your child might have another little screener kind of placement type thing, but that's again only for the teacher to know what their level is, because the teachers work usually sometimes one-on-one or in small groups with kids, and so the teacher needs to have an assessment to know what the different children need. So at no point is it you trying to get your kid ready and really trying to get them to study for these tests. Please don't do that. This is not what these tests are about. Okay, it's for the teacher for the school to figure out how to separate the kids into different classroom, but it's not about putting all highly capable in one class. So PEP is primary enrichment program, and they are students who are in the highly capable, who qualify for the highly capable program in the winter, so they won't even know till winter, and they will get a additional 30 minutes of it's not a one-on-one service, but it's a pull-out with other kids who qualify for that program with a teacher who's considered a PEP teacher, like a separate teacher, and they do enrichment projects that incorporate high levels of cognitive demand, and that is the program for students in the highly capable program in first through second grade. Okay. The ML program, we asked some questions about that. So it's multilingual learners program, and we have over 1,400 students who receive this service. Student support Students are supported in their regular classroom, but in addition to their regular classroom teacher, they also work in small groups with a English language teacher or an ML, multilingual teacher, and they do screeners to see what their proficiency in English is. And then the multilingual teacher, ML teacher, will work with them to help them improve their reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. And once they have met certain requirements, they can exit from the program. As a parent, you are also welcome to say that you don't want your child to be in the program. But this program is designed especially for students who are identified as having English language need, and it's to help them especially with their academic language support. So kindergarten preparedness. Lori, would you like to take this slide and the next?
Sure. Like Lorna mentioned, we are happy to welcome your child no matter what their skill level might be. And there are certain things that we would love for you to help your child start to develop over the course of the summer. So on this slide, we're talking about independent skills. So these are things, if the kids can do this independently when they start kindergarten, they feel very successful throughout their school day. And so one thing they could practice at home is being able to wash their hands and go to the bathroom by themselves. And also too, when you first start kindergarten, you're around a lot of kids, a lot of new germs. So teaching them how to wash their hands, get their hands wet, put on soap, and then scrub. You can sing a little song and then rinsing. And then being able to put on a backpack. It sounds really simple, but it can be challenging when you're little. And so helping them put on their backpack, take off their backpack, be able to open it, put things in and out. As you can imagine, some kindergarten classrooms have about 18 to 20 students and sometimes just one teacher in there. So if the kids can independently pack up and get their coats on, it just helps make really smooth and quicker transitions for the students. During lunchtime, we'll talk about lunch a little bit later, but they only have about 20 minutes to sit down, get their lunch and eat. They also have a snack time during the day. So if they are able to open their jars or lunch containers by themselves, that means that they'll have more time to eat. So we teach them how to pinch and use their fingers to pull and open. or even thinking about if you're sending them to school with home lunch, what are some containers that they can easily open? Because when they're in the cafeteria, if they have to raise their hand and wait for help, it could take a while for an adult to be able to go and help them. And so when they're able to be independent, not only do they feel successful, but then they have more time to eat. And then teaching them their full name can be helpful, and being able to write their name is really helpful throughout the school day. They will be asked to write their name on their work multiple times throughout the day and be able to recognize their name. So in the classroom, you'll see some pictures later. They have different cubbies or they have their name posted in different areas. So if they're able to recognize their name, that really helps them successfully navigate the school day. And we can go to the next slide. After you registered and went to your schools, you might have noticed this flyer that was in the kindergarten packet for you. It talks about up top, really important, right? Those independence and health skills that you can start working on before the first day of school. And then on the bottom 4 boxes there, it just talks about some social emotional literacy, language communication, and mathematical skills that you can start to work on. And please know, if your students don't master these things before they start kindergarten, it's okay. We're going to continue to teach these skills throughout the school year. And on the back side, or on the right side for this slide, it just gives different suggestions. So get to know your school. Go ahead and sign up for your school website. And for e-news, as Lorna mentioned, there are some summer play dates, and some of the summer play dates are actually held at the playground at your elementary school. So it's an opportunity for your child and for you to visit the school, play on the playground, meet new friends, meet other families. This will really help them when they start school. They have a bus ride along. All of these events we'll talk about in following slides. And then again, just different recommendations on how to help your child be successful, setting expectations. Something that can be really helpful is getting that consistent bedtime and morning routine started before the first day of school. As you can imagine, a full school day can be tiring, and getting used to waking up early and doing your morning routine does take some time. So if you can get that started even a couple of weeks before the first day of school, that will help that first day of school go by extra smooth. And also, if you click on the link, we have a website version of this. And then when you go to the website version, thank you, Lorna. It's a lot of the same information, and we're working on updating it to add more content and more ideas of how to support your child. If you go down, you see on the right column, be ready for the school day or setting expectations. There's different links or social stories, that activities that you can do with your child to help them just learn about what school looks like, or different tips and tricks for parents on how to have successful mornings. There's that social story where it talks about what going to school looks like, especially if your child has never been to a school setting before. That could be really helpful, because then they'll be able to see what a school day might look like. Thank you, Lorna.
Thank you, Lori. And so you will get, I love this flyer, and I know that some schools provide this flyer, but if you don't have the flyer, the link on the website is also a great way. Just what can you do between now, March, and September 4th to help your kid really be successful as they start? And so a lot of parents think it's about teaching them reading, writing, and math. And honestly, the soft skills help a lot also. So please consider also talking to them about routine, social emotional development, honestly, tying shoelaces, putting on jackets, putting their backpack, and
Or
we'll talk
Velcro
more
shoes
about,
if they can't tie shoelaces.
yes, and we'll talk more about also how to prepare them for lunch. One of the things I'm going to say right now is that in August, I do an event called Tips and Resources for Families in Elementary School. And a lot of the questions, such as what's lunch look like? How do I like tips for lunches, buses? How do I find my bus route? All of those details. I'm not going to have time now because it's too much details for you to know now. But in August, I will give you those instructions and information on August 21st, including like school supplies and everything. So you have time to get ready by September 4th. But that's more details for you. This is kind of just a big overview and picture. So, schools, public schools also have 504 plans, just like private schools, but we also have a lot of supports for students with both physical and learning disabilities. So, Section 504 requires public schools to provide a free and appropriate physical public education to every student, regardless of the nature and severity of the disability. So, there are a couple programs to support students who have disabilities, and that could be a Section 504, which provides students eligibility with disabilities, accommodations, aids, and services to access and benefit from education equally with their peers. So, very often, what I have noticed is 504 plans. That's what it's called. It's a 504 plan is mainly given to students who have asthma, diabetes, vision, hearing, maybe health, severe allergy might be one of the things. Sometimes they have a 504 plan for students that have ADHD. If you already have a 504 plan, great. Make sure you share that 504 plan with the school counselor, and that was part of the enrollment process. If you're working on getting a 504, or you can't really get it till your school is in school, student is in school, but if you have had testing and recommendations from your child's pediatrician, be ready when your child starts school. You your school give this information to your child's school counselor, and they will work with you on setting up meetings and conversations on the steps and the process for that. Now, uh, if your child has an IEP already because they came from a preschool program or a different program where they had an IEP, then that IEP will just be rolled into kindergarten. So students, schools in public schools all have special education programs in the ISD, and it's really designed to best serve and support students. It is not a stigma to be in the program. What I have noticed that sometimes parents are very afraid of having their child be put in a special education program because of stigmas. Many other countries sometimes don't have such programs, and so they think it's different, but here it's to help your child really get a good start and have strategies so they can succeed at school. So if your child is coming from EC, like a certain program, ECE program, that and they already have it in their preschool, great. Then it'll just share it with the school, and then the school will have it, and the IEP case manager at your school will work with you to have your next IEP plan meeting. I'm sorry, what is the IEP meeting again? I keep on forgetting.
IEP, are you talking about the transition meeting?
Meeting, they have a yearly meeting to update and review the IEP
Mhm.
plan. So make
IEP
sure,
meeting, yeah.
yes, yes. And so communicate with the school. So really a lot of this is communicating with the school. There's a place to put this information in the registration process for your child. The main thing is to have that conversation with a school counselor who really would be the one to help you navigate the system to figure out what's the best plan for your child. If you don't already have an IEP or a 504, and you think that your child is going to need some additional supports to help them be the most successful they can at school. You can also talk to your child's pediatrician, and they can give you some ideas of this is might be a IEP plan or a 504 plan. And so when you talk to the school counselor, you kind of know more as to what to ask or what to consider in your conversation with the school. And again, you're welcome to call me or one of the family liaisons so we can have a more in-depth conversation if your child has uh, needs some kind of additional support for special education as they start kindergarten. Ina, would you please present the slide?
Of course. Okay, so every school in our district has a health room and has a school nurse and a health room specialist who goes along with that. The health room specialist is usually a paraeducator, so not a nurse, but is supervised by the nurse. And the health room specialist is also trained with CPR training and first aid training. So they are capable of monitoring or being in the health room even when a nurse is not present. If your child has, sorry, one second. If your child has any kind of a need for medications during the day, or has a life-threatening condition, for example, an allergy which requires an EpiPen, please make sure that the nurse has forms that you complete, and you must provide that medication that is to be administered by the nurse before your child starts school. So because they have to be prepared to treat your child should the need arise. They cannot administer any medication on their own without that form being provided and the medication being provided. So it's very, very important. If your child does get hurt or feels sick, they can always go to the health room. Usually the teacher will send them there. At the kindergarten level, they usually have a buddy walk with them to the nurse's office, to the health room. And so they're well taken care of, and you will receive a call if your child is treated for, say they fall and they have a bump or a scrape or a bruise. You will be notified because that is required by the state. And then if they are vomiting or diarrhea, or if they have a fever, you will be called to take your child home. So just know that we're taking care of your kids while they're in our care.
Thank you, Ina. And let's go and do the immunization. But before I go there, I just want to make sure a lot of parents get confused and they think that the school nurse and the health room specialist both have the same qualifications. The school nurse is most often an RN, and she is a trained specialist. Very often they've worked in a hospital or a clinic, and now they're working in the school building. And even though they're a licensed nurse, they cannot administer medicine at school unless you have a plan with them to help with the diabetes and insulin, or with asthma, or with seizure disorders and stuff like that. Okay. And the health room specialist, she's mainly the one when the kids come in, she's like, "Oh, what's your name, sweetie?" And like, "Oh, lost your tooth. Oh, what's wrong? You sit down, relax," until it's kind of like a medical assistant, until the nurse comes in to support. And usually the health room specialist is the one who will make the call and so forth. So just note, because there are two different individuals with two very different training in medicine. So immunization, this has a lot of information. You do not need to know any of this memorized at all. Just know that your child has to have completed their required immunization for the school year before they can start school. So if your child is going to be in kindergarten, right here, this line, kindergarten through sixth grade, make sure they have all of those vaccines before they start on September 4th. Otherwise, the school nurse will contact you, and kids are not, they're required to have these vaccines before they start school. So there's definitely going to be conversations with the school and the nurse before school starts regarding these vaccines, and you can work with them if there's some kind of need and reason why you don't have those vaccines for your child. And if you need help getting the vaccines because of financial reasons or other barriers, you can work with a school nurse for that also. Some people have asked, how can we get this? Usually, if you're from a different state, You can contact your state and find the previous state to find out if they have the records. You can find out, because this is a Washington state document. I know for me, I go to my child's pediatrician, and she prints out a form and gives me all that information. So if your child was born or raised in a different country, you can do this blood test. I think it's called a titer, and you can see what vaccines they have gotten. But if you're not sure, it's definitely something between now and August 29th, or right before school starts. Have have them take them to a medical professional so you can figure out what you need so that you can start school, or call the school or call the liaison to see if, because there are sometimes some clinics that help families for reduced costs, to help you connect with one of those clinics. So school counselor. So every school has a school counselor, and a school counselor is really a two-part. She's in middle and high school, they do a lot of academic counseling and help students as they're choosing classes and so forth. In middle school, a lot of what a school counselor does is fosters a positive relationship between students and students. If families have any kind of crisis or have concerns, the school counselor is the one you're going to talk to if you have some concerns. Going through a divorce, death in the family, all of those different things, you're going to work with a school counselor so that they can support the child. Sometimes school counselors will have little peer meetings with students at lunch, or she'll work with a group of students on friendship issues. They'll work with in the classroom. Very often, the school counselor goes into the classroom to do little lessons on communication or decision making or friendship, so all of these different things. So don't be surprised if your child talks to a school counselor. That doesn't mean your child is in trouble or it's not a negative stigma. It's uh, it's based part of elementary schools in the Issaquah school system that we are trying to really foster positive social and emotional behavior, and we're trying to grow our students socially and emotionally too. Um, Next one is behaviors and social skills in elementary schools. Lori, I think you were going to do 28. So I'll talk a little bit more about this, because one of the big differences, I think, in US elementary schools, because I grew up in India and I don't remember doing this there, but they spend a lot of time on behavior and social skills. So, using your walking speed, that you have a space bubble around you, don't violate people's space, keep a certain amount of distance as you're standing, walking, be aware of your body. What is your noise level, what voice level? Is it, indoor voice, outdoor voice? No touching or rough play at recess. Sometimes parents are surprised when we say, well, your child was like pushing or even hugging kids at certain times, and it's like, what's the big deal with hugging? And the thing is, we don't encourage any kind of grabbing or holding on to kids. And even if it's in a positive way, we don't know for sure that certain kids want to be hugged, because different people have different personal space and different needs. And so we want to make sure that we are recognizing different kids' needs and personal space. We also encourage cleaning up after an activity and teaching them those kinds of skills. So soft skills are definitely also taught at the elementary level. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about how to prepare your child for school.
And so here's some examples of what Lorna was just talking about. The two posters on the left, those are some expectation posters from Clark Elementary. So every school will have their big 3 rules, and it will be similar. The words might be different, but it'll be very similar to be safe, be kind, and be productive. And kids will be taught these skills, and being able to demonstrate these skills in different settings. And so something you could do at home is really reinforce this behavior. The best way to reinforce positive behavior is to lots of positive praise, explicitly naming what they're doing right. And so this could look like at home, thank you for being so safe when you're walking in the grocery store. Make sure that we don't bump into anything or anyone. Or thank you for being so kind when you helped your brother get ready this morning for his preschool class. Or being productive. Wow, you were so productive. You cleaned up your toys very quickly. And these skills will help them really be successful in their classroom, and they'll be used to that vocabulary. And the more you positively reinforce, you'll notice them wanting to do it more and more. This voice level chart on the right, this is an actual poster from one of the kindergarten social studies lessons where they're learning about different voice levels that are appropriate in different places. And so even in the cafeteria, the paraeducators, while they're transitioning kids out into recess, they might say, okay, everyone, level 0 voice, no talking. In the classroom, when they're working with a partner, they might be asked to use a 6-inch voice or whisper voice when it's a quieter activity. So playing around with the different voice levels at home would be really good practice for them for when they enter the school building. We can go to the next slide. Oh, specialist. 90% of the time when you ask a kindergartner, what is their favorite part of school? They'll probably say that it's PE. And so every kindergarten student will be able to go to specialist. And again, we talked about half-day schedule that you could opt into. If you opt in for a half-day schedule, AM, it is quite likely that your child would miss going to specialist classes because these are typically in the afternoon. And so every week, your child will be able to go to PE twice a week, music twice a week, and library once a week. And then with the school library, your students will learn how to browse a library and eventually be able to check out books to take home and love and read over and over and then bring back to school. When you first start school, you'll get a weekly schedule, and something parents can do is really pay attention to that weekly schedule, because when it's a PE day, you want them to be able to be running around safely and comfortably, so that you can help them dress in comfortable running shoes on those PE days. Sometimes kids wear really fancy dress shoes or sandals, and that makes PE quite challenging for them, and we don't want them to get blisters or anything like that. And when they go to their specialist teacher, it will be a different teacher, not their classroom teacher.
By the way, specialist teachers for me was especially confusing because I had never attended elementary school in the US. So when my daughter was talking about specialist teacher, I was like, what the heck is that? Why are they special? Because I was a science teacher, and I'm like, none of us are called specialists in the middle and high schools. And so I had to learn that a specialist was a PE teacher. And the specialist teachers are just like regular general ed classroom teachers in K-5. They are a certified teacher. So this is not a paraprofessional. This is a certified Washington State teacher. And that teacher is teaching just PE, just music, or has been assigned to work in the library, and that's what they do. And usually those teachers work with all students. So the one good thing is, most likely, some schools have two if they're really big, but most likely, like my children, have had the same music and PE teacher from kindergarten all the way till 5th grade. The librarian changed in the middle. So that is one of the consistent things of elementary school. You'll also hear your child talk about the recess and the lunchroom teacher, the recess teacher, the lunch teacher, and those are actually para educators. So they're not certificated classroom teachers, or they're not certificated teachers. They're assistants. And so they are called classified staff, meaning they don't have a teaching certificate. And they work in the school as an assistant to school staff, including teachers. And many will work with your child in the classroom. In kindergarten, very often all kindergarten have a paraeducator that works in the room a couple hours a day. On the playground, for sure, they supervise the students. On the lunchroom, they supervise the student. And of course, the paraeducator is also in the health room as the health room specialist. So the libraries. Lori, let's have Ina talk about the library.
Okay, well, as you can see, this is an example of a library. It's quite large. Most of the school's libraries are large. And the students will go to, they have library once a week. The librarian is also a certificated teacher. So she does teach a small lesson. And that could be just, having reading a story to the students, especially at the kindergarten level. And then she will also train them on how to look for books at their appropriate level and check them out. They learn how to take care of the book, that they are responsible for the book, meaning that they get to put it in their backpack and take it home, read it, and then they need to bring it back and return it. Otherwise, they don't get to check out another book the next week. So they learn, these are some of the soft skills, again, that they're learning through library. And we do have, this is one place where parents can volunteer, is in the library, and you would be helping the librarian restock books and just, so maybe sometimes helping the students check out books when their class comes in. So it's a fun time. The kids really like library.
And I'm going to contradict Lori and tell you all that my children's favorite specialist was not PE. It was library. My kids loved the library, and the backpack was super heavy on library days, but they'd come home with like 4 or 5 books. Some librarians have limits. My kids' school librarian let them do whatever, like get as many books. And so she'd have many books, and she loved those days. So.
When I was in the elementary school, library was my favorite part of the week too.
Yeah.
And like Ina mentioned, if they don't return the book, they're not able to check out a new one, and that makes them really sad. So that's another thing. Please help your child remember on that library day or before that library day to take their book back to school so that they can borrow a new one.
But they thought about this. My kid was super careful about books she got from the library, because she's like, I cannot do this. So they are taught so many amazing skills, and that these are skills that are transferable to them. They're called soft skills on purpose. And so even taking care of, school property is taught to them in elementary school. So that's very impressive. Um, Moving on, the schools usually have something called a book fair, and the book fair is to just help expose them to different grade level books. There are fundraisers usually there are fundraisers arranged by the PTSA to help buy more books for the library, or buy some books that the kids really want. Flyers will be sent home for that. Kids go shopping. You can see over here there are a whole bunch of books, and parents put money in the account on Scholastic. There'll be more directions for you as the next year, so don't worry about that. Just wanting to know that really there's a big push towards reading and reading literacy, and we do a lot to encourage that. You don't have to buy books at the book fair, but just it's an option. Elementary school, Lori?
This is the PE space. Sometimes they'll have PE in a gym, sometimes they'll have it outside. And not only do they get to have physical education and physical activity, but they also learn about sportsmanship and teamwork and have lots of fun too. As you notice, they'll have lots of fun equipment, balls, scooters. You'll notice on the left picture there's a rock climbing wall. So lots of fun activities for them to do and learn how to play different sports and games.
And PE all students will do PE twice a week, and then they'll do music also twice a week. and they will sometimes sing songs. In fourth grade, all of you will be tortured. Oh, no, I'm teasing. They will learn how to do the, what's that thing called? Recorder. Yeah, so the students will be learning how to play a recorder, and so you'll hear them practice at home. It's amazing because they learn how to play the recorder and they work on it. And so just amazing that they get this opportunity to learn instrument during elementary school. Usually there's a music, like I said, the music teacher follows or is the same one throughout the year. And ooh, big one, they do concerts. And it's the cutest thing in the world because all of the kids in kindergarten, there'll be a day that you're invited to go to school, and all the different kindergarten classrooms will be doing performances at that. And it's just amazing. I loved those when my kids were in school. Recess. So there are 2 recesses and 1 lunch during the school year. Usually there's a recess before lunch and then another recess after lunch. On Wednesday, students usually only have 1 recess and 1 lunch. So on Wednesday, even though it's a shorter day, they will have lunch before the school ends. Lori, I was going to have you present this, and then I started chatting.
Take it away.
So in addition to that, for kindergartners, they get something called purposeful playtime, and it's part of that entire Washington State Kids program and why we have the family connections. And so the end of the day, they have purposeful play. There are different centers that they are encouraged to go to different activities. So it's kind of organized play. It's not willy-nilly kids are doing whatever for that time. The teacher provides different activities, but it's playtime, but it's also kind of academic. It's called purposeful play to help them grow and learn and interact with each other and so forth. So you can see over here the recess schedule, and so different kids have different recesses at different times. So over here, first and third have a lunch and recess. Second and fourth are paired up. When I was a dean at Clark, we had paired kindergarten and first grade together, second and third grade together, fourth and fifth grade together. When my children were at Sunset, the kindergarten and fifth graders were at recess together, the first grade and fourth grade were together. So different schools might pair different kids to have recess together. And sometimes they might even have zones where the kindergartners will play here today and the fifth graders here just to keep them safe. So recess is a specific time. It's very organized. The teachers walk them to the playground. When the recess bell rings, they all line up, and then the teacher will walk them back to the classroom. So the kids are always supervised. And there's always plans. Elementary schools have great planning systems. So lunchroom, this was a very high number of questions came in my chat around lunchroom. So the teacher again will walk their students to the lunchroom, and then if it's after recess, because sometimes recess is after lunch is after recess, the paraeducators will walk the kids, and when they come in, they'll either go into a line to buy lunch. If students are eligible because of financial need, the school also has a free and reduced lunch program. And so they'll go in what's called a hot food lunch line. And then for those students who are bringing lunch from home, they are going to have dropped their lunches in a little wagon, like one of those Costco wagons, and they drop it in there, and a teacher or someone will take it to the lunchroom. And so they'll pick up their lunch from that. If they're coming to lunch directly for the classroom, they'll just carry their lunch when the teacher brings them to the lunchroom, and then after lunch they will drop it in a container. So we'll talk more about this, but it's important for you to have, if you're having your child bring lunch from home, have a nice sturdy lunch bag, because a paper bag or plastic bag is going to get ruined over time. But there is an allergy table. There are meatless options if you're buying lunch. There's a menu on the website, and lunches, I'm going to say $4.25. Let me see if my next slide has it. I don't have that. But it's around 4 something. And when my kids were in school, I let them buy lunch 1 day a week because they always wanted to be part of that hot lunch line. But the beginning of the school year say no, because the line is sometimes longer. But if you can afford it, or if you can pack the lunches, if not, You can see they put all the trays out with the different options, and then the students just walk up. This is hot dog, which is a whole grain corn dog with peas and mandarin oranges. They just go pick up their tray, then they go up to the lunch lady or cashier, give their number, or sometimes elementary school kids have cards, and they scan the card so that the account can be charged or counted for if they're getting free and reduced lunch. Students can also buy regular or chocolate milk. You can even just have your kid buy milk without the whole lunch option. So there are, you can see the milk over here, the fruit over here. So lunch is, that's usually how lunch will go. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about lunch bags, and on August 21st as we go through this present, like some tips and resources for you. Transportation, it's a big question many of our families ask. For students who are in doing full day, and they qualify for a bus. To qualify for the bus, you need to live within a certain distance. So if you live really close to school, there won't be a bus, and your child is eligible to walk to school. For those students who qualify for school bus, you will log on to the school transportation website, and we'll go more information into this. But this, you'll only find out your bus route in later on when school starts. You'll find out your bus route. There's a website for it, and you put in your child's name and information. There's a e-link to look up this information, and directions are over there. But again, you only can get this information in late August. I'll go more into details about bus routes in August. Half-day kindergarten kids, as I said, their parents have to pick them up at 12:15. Kindergarten families, I hope you all filled out your release form. This is really helpful because a bus driver needs to know who these kindergarten kids are. We ask that you attach a photo of your child. If you need help with that, you can send it to us, and we'll help you share it with transportation. Honestly, I have sometimes just taken photos of students and then just sent it to the transportation department email. There's an email right here. You can send this form and then just add a photo, separate photo, and send both of them together to this one so they can put it in their database. It's because students, once your child, sometime in September, there's going to be photo day. And on photo day, they're going to take a photo of your child. And all of those photos are uploaded into the database for the school district. So we always see photos of the kids, and we can identify a child and their photo. But because kindergartners, it's their first time in the system, they don't have that prior history. So that's why we ask parents to get that information. But any family who starts usually after like September 21st or so, the photo day has passed, and we have that child's photo for our records so we can identify and know. It's just a safety feature for our transportation and our bus drivers. They actually have all the kids' photos in their folder so they know the kids as they're coming in and off the bus. It's, yeah, to keep your kids safe. The cameras are on the bus. We said that kindergarten kids have preferential treatment, seating, not treatment, but treatment also. My favorite thing, by the way, is ride the big school bus. And that is going to be before if you come to my event on August 21st. But ride the school bus. If your child has never ridden the school bus, you and your child get to ride the school bus on August 8th. It's a lot of fun. And honestly, they're as tall as the wheels of the bus. So we have to take a photo of that. At least I did. It was a lot of fun. It builds excitement for the kids to go back to school. So it's great.
And they'll teach the kids their safety rules as well.
Yes.
And they get to ride through the big car wash, right? The big bus wash. Yeah.
It's very exciting. And then the bathroom. Some parents have asked, like, oh my gosh, are my kids going to get lost going to the bathroom? Well, some garden rooms actually have bathrooms inside. And if they don't, the teachers very early teach procedures for students on how to get to the bathroom and get back. They have procedures on how to ask to go to the bathroom, sign up procedures. And then, honestly, in kindergarten, sometimes kids have accidents, and so they get sent to the health room. And the health room has some change of clothes in case that happens. And if there is a conversation you need to have with about bathroom usage with your child's kindergarten teacher, this is definitely something to talk to them about during the family connections meeting when school starts. Um, but our students all start completely able to use the bathroom, right, Lori? Is that a requirement or not real?
I mean, they can start school whether or not they're potty trained, but then definitely if they're not potty trained for a specific reason or maybe a physical reason, contact the school ahead of time. And if they're not potty trained yet, get started. You have lots of time to teach them to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the things that I would personally focus on as you're getting your kid ready to start school, because those are the things that we'll have to support, and how that support looks like will be based on conversations with the teacher starting in late August, and also
Well,
the school nurse.
and also, Lorna, it's a good idea just to have a change of clothes for your child. Just put it in a gallon Ziploc bag and keep it in their backpack, just because you never know. Um, just
I know both my children have like
underwear.
a go
Yeah,
bag, like a
yeah,
so sometimes kindergarten teachers have like a go bag, so it depends on the process for that teacher
yeah.
also. The next one is before and after school care. Again, a big question asked by many of the families as they are registering for this. So, unfortunately, that there is a wait list for this program. So, before and after school care is a program and a service that all 16 schools have for our families. But right now, I believe that all of the locations currently have a wait list. If you are interested in being or your child being in before and after school care, I would definitely put my name on the wait list now. Remember, you can say no when they call you, because you will get an email saying, "Hey, are you interested?" Sometimes they'll also leave a voice message, because then they're going to give you a window that you have to reply by before they get to the next child or family on the wait list. So, just to give you some information, when my oldest daughter started before and after school care, we were either number 52 or 56 on the list, and we made it into the program because usually of the summer, some kids drop, some kids move, situations change. Fourth and fifth graders sometimes don't go to before and after school care. So there are many options, right? But if you're wanting to do this, I would recommend you put your name, and you can just say no if it comes up. The program has before and after school care. They take you from the care program, and they walk the kids to the kindergarten classroom. And then after school, they go to the kindergarten classroom and they walk the kids to the care program. There are many activities and fun things that they do there. Um, the there is So it says the incoming kindergarten is not eligible for summer camp, but we don't really have summer camp this year, so that's not an issue this year, right, Lori? This last bullet.
Yeah, it's only for current kindergarten through.
Yeah, I'm not sure about for Basque. I'm not sure about what their summer camp looks like because that would be separate from our ISD preschool programs.
Yeah, but oh, I know that's what it is. So the incoming kindergarten students are not eligible to be in the summer ISD Basque programs. So one of the cool things is, if your child is in kindergarten before after school care, in the summer, they also have summer camps at school, and students in the before and after school care usually have first priority. So that's a great, easy way to be in the same kind of program, and their camps, just like community center and other places, they have camps through all of summer except that last week before school starts. So the question is, by which month can we expect to know if my new kindergartner will get it? And honestly can't answer because it depends on where you are on the wait list. Some of you, if you're high up and you registered, put your name in a couple months ago, it might be earlier. If you haven't done it, it might be later. You can call or email them and just say, "Hey, what number am I? What do you think is?" They're not going to give you
Actually,
specific.
you will get an email. Yeah, when you register to be on the wait list, you'll get a response email that tells you where you are on the wait list. You could be in the 200s. So just be prepared for that. Most of our schools have very long wait lists. And one other thing I wanted to mention is this is not a free program. It is a fee-based program.
Okay, so someone said they couldn't see the link to join the wait list. It's right there. Okay, and so again, I got there from the registration form, just the before and after school care link, and then registration information, and then school care waitlist. And just FYI, the school district would love to have more before and after school care openings. It's really based on our limited, we're always looking for staff, and we just can't find enough staff to support the need. And that honestly is a limiting factor. And we don't make a profit. It's just about making sure that we're providing the support for our families. So examples of classrooms, we're almost done.
So you might be wondering what a classroom looks like. So these are going to be pictures of actual classrooms in ISD. And we have a rigorous day in kindergarten of learning, reading, writing, social studies, science, but there's also time for play and for art. So you'll also notice playful materials, toys, hands-on manipulatives for math or literacy skills. On the right-hand side, that is an art docent teaching a lesson. So if you would like to volunteer to be an art docent, families, parents volunteer to teach or help teach and assist art lessons in classrooms. And that's something you could consider doing. And the next slide.
Sorry, I was answering a parent
Oh, sorry.
question in the chat. No worries.
And our teachers are really great at differentiating instruction. So what you'll notice in our kindergarten classroom, sometimes kids enter knowing how to read. Sometimes kids enter maybe just knowing a couple of letters and letter sounds, but by the end of kindergarten, they're reading words. Kindergarten is a really rigorous year where they're learning a lot in different content areas. And so on the left-hand side, there are whole group lessons, but there are also small group or individual work that they can be doing. And then on the right-hand side, in every classroom, you'll also see a teacher table, a group work table. So teachers are able to pull groups of students to be able to provide instruction on just what they need at their level. And teachers provide this type of instruction for reading and for math and different content areas.
Thank you, Lori. That was a big question asked in the registration form. How will the teacher be able to differentiate for the different levels of kids? And remember, the school specifically tries to have kids of different levels in the classroom. So we have some kids who can really read and write and know math, and some who are just starting, and they're all in the classroom together. And so that's why the teachers really work with students in small groups. So while the teacher is working with students in small groups, other kids are doing different activities. Some of them might be reading or doing an activity there. So they're different centers pretty much in the classroom where they're doing different learning. And kids learn that routine pretty quickly. It's quite impressive. And then here we have, Lori, I'll let you continue.
Yeah, so this is a little reading corner in a classroom. And on the right-hand side, there's a sample of a daily schedule. And again, your teacher will share your daily schedule when you start school. There'll also be a curriculum night. Usually happens within the first month of school, where you'll be invited to go into the school, into the classroom, and the teacher will teach you about their curriculum and what they do in the classroom and go into those details. The sample schedule on the right, as you can see, they have arrival routines, they have reading and snack and recess. They'll have different, you might hear something called a morning meeting or afternoon meeting, but it's really about building community and sitting in a circle and connecting with one another as a classroom community. We focus a lot on learning early literacy, phonics, handwriting skills, and writer's workshop as well. Currently, our school district is going through a reading and writing literacy adoption. So we have new curriculum that's going to be coming out next school year. So that's very exciting. The kids then go to lunch and recess. Are
Sorry,
you
I'm,
pulling
I'm
something up,
going to the
Bryce?
academics because some parents were
Oh,
asking
okay.
about elementary school learning. And so for your curriculum, we didn't cover curriculum at all because in September there will be a curriculum night. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to figure out what your child will be learning in elementary school, it's all on the website under kindergarten. And so on this link, you'll also see if you have questions about literacy and dyslexia, it's on here. There will be information over here. So, and if you're interested in what would it be for your child who is an ML or who has a special ed IEP, um, in late August, early September, you're also welcome to talk to your case manager and they can talk about what the learning plan will look like for children who have an IEP. And then the ML teacher can talk about what the learning plan would be for what they do to support students who are language learners. But honestly, it's really dependent on each child, right? So a lot of those students, and in general, our students. So that's one of the things. Our school really is about how do we support an individual child in where they are to take them up into their learning. So for kindergarten, you can see there's information on reading, writing, math, science. So several of you parents have asked me about what's the curriculum look like in kindergarten. So just remember on the district website, go to academics or elementary school learning, and then go to kindergarten. And then if you're looking, if your child has, if you have concerns about dyslexia or literacy with your child, there are some resources here and then some suggestions for helping your child at home. But a lot of this is for from kindergarten to first grade. I don't know how much we have for children before kindergarten. There is no homework, honestly, for kindergartners. The big homework is the expectation that your child will, we encourage reading. So usually they'll say, oh, read with your child for 10 minutes a day, or have your child read for 10 minutes a day. One of the things we'll talk in August, or I'm going my, you will learn from your teacher for Parent Connection, is they have lots of apps right now where books are read to kids. So it's not that your kid is playing on devices. You can log into a program. It's called Clever, and they can click on a book, and books could be read to your child. And this is helpful for parents who are busy, and you need your child wants to read a book. I mean, through COVID, my child would log on and really go through a lot of books as I was working. And so that was really helpful because she loves reading. And so she can get through a lot of books. Um, Elementary backpacks and cubbies. Lori, do you want to talk to
Yeah,
this?
so these are, so they'll have their little space in the classroom. And this is where we talked about if they're able to recognize their name in print, it can be really helpful. And so this is where when they transition into the classroom, they'll know where to unpack. They'll have a little space where they can hang up their coat, put their backpack away, and everything will be likely labeled with their name on it for each student. And so they'll be responsible for taking care of their materials. And again, this is where if they're able to put on and take off their coat by themselves, or put on and take off their backpack by themselves, it helps them be very successful.
And we're nearly at the last slide. By the way, one of the things to note is the classroom teacher in kindergarten will have a folder called Take Home folder, and she usually puts like papers, important papers for parents. And so that's usually a main way of communication between teachers and families, is checking to see how many, what documents are in that. Usually there are around 18, maybe 20 kids in the class. They try to keep the kindergarten classrooms a little bit smaller. I would say about 20 is what you're kind of expecting. In As they get older, maybe they'll see in first and second grade like 21, maybe 22, but 18 to 20 is what I have normally seen in kindergarten classes. So what's next? What happens? So we are doing registration right now. In early August, there will be something called an EVP where all of you need to do that. And it's really about confidential health forms and different forms. It's really a lot of forms. So, take a deep breath, sit down at your computer, and do all those forms. This is a fun activity though, and that's the Ride the Big School Bus on the 8th. I have another optional presentation if you want to attend, ask questions on the 21st, and then you're going to do Meet the Teacher on the 28th. Then you will have one of these days. So remember, you're not going to all three of them, and you can work with the school to see what availability they have for your meeting. And then your child, the fun, the first day of school, September 4th. And honestly, a lot of parents are really sad because they want to walk their child to the classroom, and that is not encouraged. They have the kids line up, and then the teacher takes you in, and all the parents are standing watching. Some of them with tears in their face, and there's something called tea and tissues or Kleenex and tissues. PTSA organizes something sometimes for kindergarten parents that first day. So sometimes many schools actually, I'm going to say, have a first day of school event for kindergarten families, especially ones who are like, oh, my child's starting school. So know that. If you have not already done so, sign up for school or the Issaquah School District weekly bulletin. Um, Honestly, all families with students in Issaquah School District will get an email. Also note that if you sign up for this, text messages, it's a program called School Messenger. When things happen, very often that you will get an email, oh sorry, a text from the school. So this is just different ways to keep in communication with the school district and the school, your classroom school. And one of the things that FPLs also tell parents is, yeah, if you sign up for weekly emails, read them, because the number one thing we notice from families is life gets complex and they forget to read emails. And I'm going to say, as busy parents, I get it, but the one thing you don't forget to do is read emails from the classroom teacher. That's like most important email to read. Next would be the school email bulletins, and then the ISD bulletins. But the teacher emails, please don't miss those. We'll go into more details, but hopefully we've answered some of your big questions. Here is the link to the feedback form. Ina, would you mind putting the link to the feedback form again in chat? So if you click on the link in chat, or if you have your phone handy, if you use a QR code, I would encourage you to complete the feedback form at this time, because that will help me get your email so that I can send you the recording, and I can also send you the slide deck, because embedded in the slide deck are a lot of the links. For example, here's a link for the liaisons and the links for transportation, all of that. And it's just a resource to keep handy. And if you don't do the feedback form, that's fine. You are always welcome to go to the district family partnership website, and under resources, in my invitation with the Zoom link for you, I let you know where you'll find this slide deck by the end of March. So at this time, we are finally over. I feel like, okay, I tried something new and I did this AI companion. I have no idea what that's going to look like, so we'll see what that looks like. Uh, and I am right now going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop recording this event. Stop. So, okay, thank you.